Fans TV, where we have suffered a defeat. It's a rare defeat. It's not common, this feeling of losing this season, but we are here. I've been left all on my own because everyone else is too scared to come along to the studio tonight. Fordy was Steve all the way from the pond is up and running. But I'm joined by obviously Steve as well, and we'll go through it. Obviously, everyone else is too scared. Fordy's got his train. Johnny, I've got no idea where Johnny's went, and I haven't even heard from Carl all day. So it's me and Steve with you. We can see the comments. Great to have you all on board. Please let us know if you agree or disagree with this. So I'm going to start with yourself, Stephen. You can have Nick Pope. Can you give us your rating and then the reason behind it?
Wow. The first goal, I have to look on a replay of it, I think, again, just so I can really be definitive. But even if he is at fault, let's assume that he's at fault for the goal.
Should he be saving it? Because it is quite a distance out.
Odegaard's been really good. Not past 2 or 3 games maybe, but just overall in the season, he's got 15 goals, I think. That's madness for an attacking mid nowadays. Even, you know what? Let's just assume he is at fault for the goal. And I, you know what? Thinking about it, he probably should be saving that or just getting, I don't know. But whatever. He made about 4 or 5 saves after that where it could have been embarrassing.
Yeah, really great save, especially the
legs, shoulder. There. So you know what? I'll give him an 8.
An 8 out of 10, I think. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. You concede 2 goals, but you made double, maybe even treble the amount of really good ones, and we lost, so I'll go 8. That seems about the right number.
Yeah, you could, because you're scoring an 8, that could be a contender for man of the match potentially. Yeah. So 8 out of 10 for Nick Pope, of course. That second save, the Odegaard second save from him, when it was 1-on-1 towards the end of the first half, was a great save. So you've done well to stretch his legs out. He is really good with his legs. So we discussed it in the last word. Well, Fordy kind of brings it up. He's not great with his feet on the ball, but you'll see that in the last word later on tonight as well, which is fabulous. And it's great to see Lewis York in the comments as well. You have been a membership for 18 months, so thank you very much for being a member for 18 months. That's quite incredible. We've got a Scouser. Are you a Scouse, Matt and Chris? Ant Deck, Alan Shearer, Beck Grove. Your boys took one hell. It's meant to say took. I think. Are you a Scouser, Mackham Scouser? Is that what you are, Chris? Because these are going down. These are going doing. And let's face it, if you are an Evertonian, why would you want to support? Oh, you're an Arsenal fan. That's fair enough. Fair enough. But we did batter Spurs for you 6-1, so I don't know why you're on your high horse. So if you're in your high horse, cool, that's fine. But maybe you should go to games and then you'll see what the real atmosphere was like today. Because I thought you actually played well, so I'm not yet to criticise Arsenal. But anyways, we'll go to Kieran Trippier. I'll take him off your hands, Steve. So I'll score him a 7. I think a second goal, he's nowhere to be seen, probably because he's a little bit higher up the pitch. So I'll score him a 7 for that. But his deliveries were fine. 1 or 2 corners were a little bit, but he's in. I'm not judging it on today, but he is in, obviously, team of the season. He's been fabulous all season, Kieran Trippier. Team of the season for a reason. And, yeah, he's a 7, but he's had better games in the black and white shirt. Do you want to add anything onto that, Chris? I know they called you Chris and Steve.
Some of the deliveries from Trippier today were hit
and miss, weren't they?
Yeah, but I don't think either of the goals came down his side. The thing is, it's like when we're losing 2-0 though, bro, I don't need you chit-chatting with Jesus. Just I know if you're trying to if you're trying to get him wound up, that's fine, but like priorities. And that goes for all of them. I think we lost our heads. I think we lost our heads.
We've been labelled, the dark arts, and Arsenal were doing it today.
We got a taste of our own medicine.
It's game management, and it's clever by Arsenal. They've done well on that today. And I personally thought, Steve says, Trippier played excellent. I missed the first 20 minutes, 9 out of 10. That's pretty high. A 9 out of 10 for that. But yeah, Gizmo the Viking says we didn't expect to batter you more than expected to batter Southampton. This is football. Stuff happens. I think he's referring to the Arsenal fan on that as well. But we'll move across then. You can have Fabian Schär who unfortunately sticks his leg out for the own goal. He doesn't know that Dan Burn's behind him. If he just leaves it, then obviously Dan Burn clears it, but he doesn't know that. But how was he today, overall performance?
First half, not good. No, not good at all, honestly, for me. I mean, how many chances did they have to score? And it was a lot coming down the left, actually. A lot. We got, I believe, the Odegaard chance. He walked right past him. Or it was a pass to Odegaard, you know. For me, probably like a 5. I wasn't impressed, to be honest.
5 out of 10.
He's been magnificent, but again, people, before I get them comments, and this is just today, not good, not to the standard. 5 out of 10 for me.
5 out of 10 for Fabian Schär. Yeah, it's not his.
I don't know. Am I being too harsh? I don't know. Would you give him a 6?
Even if you take away the own goal, you'd probably give him a 6, won't you? So the own goal probably knocks him down a little bit because he sticks his leg out. But yeah, not his greatest performance. I don't think it's Sven Botman's greatest performance either. So I think I'll match that. Just go along the lines. Normally, when you have one centre back playing well or one centre back playing poorly, the other one kind of normally mirrors it. But I'll go along with that. Sven Botman, I'll score him a 5 out of 10 as well. I don't think he was necessarily troubled by Jesus, but just a bad day at the office for most of the defence, and it's one of them, in it, where we'll come up against a side that are fighting for the title. If Newcastle want to get to that position, they're going to have to strengthen in the summer. But remember how far we have come. But Sven Botman for me, a 5 out of 10. You can have Dan Burn.
Dan Burn. You know what? Like,
he's up against Saka, wasn't he? So that was when you look at it.
And Saka was kept pretty quiet, to be honest. Some of the hold-up play from Saka was actually pretty good on Dan Burn, considering everyone's little compared to Dan Burn, really. But you know what? I don't think he was necessarily at fault for anything. I'm trying to think if he gave the ball away on anything. I don't. Saka
didn't rinse him, which were probably one or two people may have.
He didn't. But I'll go with the 6. I'll go with the 6. We do gotta have a convo about upgrading on left back. We do, because we needed something off that left hand side offensively going forward.
And Matty Target's not the answer for you then.
As a backup, possibly.
But
Eddie Howe clearly doesn't phase.
We all like the Kieran Tierney, who obviously came off the bench for Arsenal.
And he made a difference, by the way. He made a difference.
So Dan Burn will get a 6 from Steve as well. We'll just have a look and see what he's saying in the comments as well. Botman was a 4, says Derek.
Yeah.
Got caught out loads, and his usual distribution consists of sideways passes, normally to the wrong side as well. Lewis has gone on to say congratulations to the women for winning the league. Yes, we do have a special video, a one-off video about that later on tonight, so stay tuned for that. Chris says Saka was crap. Obviously, him being an Arsenal fan, I think Dan Burn handled them pretty well. I'll tell you what Saka was good at, though. He was good at the press. He was very good at the press, which a lot of Arsenal players were, which you don't really see that on camera as much because you follow the ball on the camera predominantly. Joe Willock against his boyhood club. Obviously, he's still pals with Eddie and Katya, and Saka himself. I thought, what a day. I think the game passed him by today. I might be a bit harsh here, but I'm going to score him a 4. I think it was really
4 or 5. And he had a chance to score in the box, right?
Yeah, I think it's.
And he just.
I think I'm not going to push into making decisions, Steve, but I think our centre midfield will all score pretty low today. But I just think the game passed Willock by, and he did, when we had possession, try and help out Isak over on that left hand side 1 or 2 times, but. For me, he's got a better understanding when it's Joelinton over there because the two interchange. I just didn't see enough of Willock. And I also felt him and Murphy were trying to hold on the ball a little bit too long in possession. Also, as I say, we're really, really good on the press. And I think that's suffered with Joe Willock in centre midfield today. But it's a bad day for him because this is the game that he'll think that's the one I look forward to because obviously he's a goon at heart, isn't he? So, but a 4 out of 10 for Joe Willock. You can have Bruno, and I'm going to probably say before you begin, possibly his worst game in a Newcastle shirt.
Disappointing. Very disappointing. First 10 minutes looked amazing, I think. Everyone looked amazing first 10 minutes. But that's the problem. After that, and then maybe you could say the first 5 45-ish minutes of the second half. So what about the rest of the 75, man? Bruno was not good today. I thought he got too riled up, and I love that. I love that. When we're winning, we love it, right? But we're losing, so we gotta, it is what it is. I thought it was like a 3 or a 4 from Bruno today. I thought he lost his head. I thought Xhaka in particular just, the physicality of today's game was outrageous. It really was. That was at least good to watch, that these guys, these ain't no softies out there. So, but Bruno, for me, he was on the receiving end of that physicality a bit too much for my liking. And he just didn't make a difference for me. I thought the game passed him by as well as Will. Like, the whole midfield in certain points of the game was just getting... How can you go the first 10 minutes looking like, we look so good, and then all of a sudden, after the penalty non-call, which was the correct one, we fall apart.
I just to put in as well, I also think Arsenal's midfield were, on the flip it on the other side, they're more positive because obviously they handle us, and as I say, the high press, running after us, two bodies after one as well. We got our number at times, and we normally do that against the opposition, high press and make them into mistakes. It was our midfield that were outbossed today. I personally think that's where the game was won. Overall, the central midfield battle, Arsenal won it for me. But I'll come over across to his Brazilian teammate. Now, you talk about aggression. You talk about losing head. I think the amount of times that Joelinton wanted to fight everybody on the pitch was a few times, shall we say. I thought he was also poor. I'm going to match that. It's funny that. I'll score him also a 4 out of 10. All three midfielders poor today, and it's reflected Newcastle's performance for me. And yes, he wanted to get into scraps, but there was nothing going forward. I felt there was a lot of mistakes from the wingers, from the centre midfield as well. Joelinton didn't boss the game. He's that enforcer that we normally see game in, game out. But once again, we're poor. But I think to speak positively about Arsenal, I think it was more that Arsenal positively done it to our midfield. I think it's more of a case that it's a mixture of both. I don't think, this player's bad, that player's bad, that player's bad. I think you've just got to say, you know what? Fair play to Arsenal's midfield. They absolutely bossed us today. Yeah. That's where our scores are so low. We'll just take a look what you're actually saying in the comments below. Yes, I am looking forward to the Grand Prix. I've got my Ferrari top on. Come on, Ferrari.
Vroom, vroom.
So I'll be looking forward to the F1, which is in Miami, which is a nice city. I've been before. And Derek's gone on to say, anyone noticed that Sean was missing? Yeah, we missed Sean's legs today. That's been talked upon the last word. Never thought I'd say that, but Villa, Southampton and Arsenal, it's a bit of a pattern. Yeah, totally agree. Ross is agreeing with us. A shocker from Bruno Guimaraes today. Totally agree on that. Bruno did give away the first goal. He lost possession. So Simon's picked up on that as well. And Gizmo the Vikings got to ask. The referee. I mean, the referee had an absolute stinker, but it's not the reason why we lost. Don't get me wrong.
On both sides, we're lucky as how we did not have a man sent off. With all the things that happened, with all the tackles, Dan Burn on Saka, lucky that wasn't at least a yellow. I don't want to hear about the refs. I just don't, because we got away, and we have this year at some points, we've gotten away with murder just like anybody else. The incompetence of referees, and I'll say it again, hurts every Premier League team. It may just seem like it hurts more than others. I don't like the victim mentality stuff with referees. I'm more worried about my team. The refs I can't control. I can't control Newcastle either, but I can give my opinion because those are my guys. Rant over.
Well, fair enough. Look, but we'll move across now to the wingers, and I'll let you have Jacob Murphy, who hit the post at the beginning. Then, as I say, he was doing too much, losing possession. But then he did set up, who was it? Isak, when he hit the post second half as well. So bits and spells, but how was his afternoon?
He really, really, really pissed me off when, I think it was the first half, when he got a little, we got the Arsenal defense to collapse down, and he was wide open. I forget who fed him the ball. Is it Isak, I believe, or Wilson? One of them two cats. Bro, he should have just shot right away. He took a unnecessary touch, And then I think he just you gotta shoot that. You gotta shoot that right away. And I'm surprised he didn't because he's in form, technically. So if that's a Miggy there in that position, does it change? I'm not even a hypothetical guy, but it does make me wonder sometimes about that. But you know what? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. But I gotta go with like a 5.
A 5.
Gotta go with a 5.
A 5 for Jacob Murphy, average 5 out of 10, isn't it? But will we see a change for the next game next weekend? Will Miggy come in on that right-hand side? That's the decision for Eddie Howe. I wouldn't be too surprised if Miguel Miron gets a place next week because he's been waiting patiently for the last 3 or 4 games since coming back from his injury. But Jacob Murphy has been in great form, except from today. But the interesting one is Alexander Isak, who played predominantly for the first 75 minutes as a left winger. I can understand why Eddie Howe went with it because later on in games he's been moved to there. He came off the bench at Goodison, played well there, that amazing dribble. And then, of course, more recently last week as well. But he started on the left-hand side today. I personally didn't think we're seeing enough of him as the left winger. Again, that's probably due to the work that Arsenal have done with Ben White. Yes, he skinned Ben White a couple of times, but that was very deep when he skinned him.
Yeah.
But in the final third, we didn't see enough of him. And then obviously Eddie Howe changed it when ASM came on, who I thought had a great game actually, and then moved him as a striker. For me, I thought, I'm going to score him a 5. I just didn't see enough, and you can use him there. You can, but I think we got found out a little bit. I think Arsenal probably expected Isak to play there today.
The Wilson Isak experiment that I wanted and a few of our other fans wanted. Let's just hold them up and say,
yeah, we did.
Today it didn't work.
It's not to say that it won't work next week.
Right. It just didn't work today. It didn't work today. Maybe in an FA Cup game away to Wrexham. I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lower league opposition, maybe. But even in that, huh?
You've been watching too much Disney.
I don't know, Shrewsbury Town, whoever you want to say.
It's not to be that. It could be lower side. It could be Leeds next week.
Boston United, Leeds, yeah, championship. No,
I think his levels are a lot higher. I just think Arsenal had the caliber, and we got found out today. So, but you know, when he got moved to striker, that's when we're seeing a little bit of ESM on that left hand side. But I'll let you. Can you give your rating first for Callum Wilson, and then the reason behind it? Now, last season. Just before you give your rating, last season when we won 2-0 and they stopped them getting in the Champions League, Wilson absolutely demolished Gabriel, if you remember when we won 2-0. Yeah. Completely the other way around today, I felt.
Yeah, and that's because Gabriela's taken a step up. This year. Not to say that Callum Wilson hasn't taken a step up this year, because he's got 15, 8 in 1 month, obviously.
Incredible.
Yeah, it really is, considering Alan Shearer never did that. That's madness. But yeah, for me you're right. It was just completely the other way around. I thought, you know, Gabriel was one of their man of match contenders, and that kid Jakub Kiwior as well, Polish center back. He did a job on Wilson as well. Yeah, for me, Wilson not much of a factor. I can't remember if he even had a shot on target. I'm not sure. Yeah, poor today. Probably like a 5.
A 5 average for Callum Wilson. And again, that's going to be interesting to see what happens next week away to Leeds. Does he start Isak up top, or does he keep the 2 in the side because he's playing against a lesser opposition? It's a little bit more riskier when you're away from home, but you're up against Sam Allardyce's. You know what you're going to get at Ellen Road. It's going to be bouncing, and it's going to be aggressive.
I'm worried. Those 12:30, 7:30 for me. God forbid.
Yeah, it's early for you.
I wake up in the morning, and if I'm 15 minutes late and we're 2-0 down, I'm just gonna be like, "This is a 7:30 kickoff." This is what it is. Because seriously, those games are madness. Yep, Brentford beat Man City away.
We've got an awful record at half 12. An awful record at half 12 kickoffs, man.
Yeah, and considering Leeds only lost 2-1. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy, considering they shipped 5 or 6 to Palace and Liverpool. So,
just having a look at some of your comments. Gordon says, "Do you think we'll finish in the Champions League spots?" Well, Steve, credit him, said that way back in October.
I stick by it.
I think we should. As long as we've got the 3-point buffer going into the last game of the season, because our goal difference is a lot better, we should be all right with that. Bloody hell, West Ham up and absolutely fantastic. Is it still 1-0 or have they scored? They must have scored then.
Second half just started. 49th minute.
Right, okay, because the people have mentioned the Paqueta and everything are like this as well. Isak is a number 9 or number 10. Say Sean, yeah, it gives obviously gives Eddie Howe options, of course, next week. We'll move on to the substitutions. The first, well, it was a double change, wasn't it? Go on, I'll be nice. I'll let you have ASM because I thought he was decent.
Yeah, decent, and
I think ASM did more left wing than Isak did.
Absolutely, and he only got 10, 15 minutes to really make a difference. Yeah, no, I thought he was decent, and I think we had 1 or 2 chances late on. Considering that we were like completely dead and out of that game at 2-0, he at least tried to revive us a little bit. So yeah, I'll give him like a 6 and 7. Sure, why not 7? One of the better players out there for us. That's true. Yeah. Even in the 15.
I agree. If you look at that second half, if you take ASM out, there's nobody stepping up. So when ASM,
because we were dead in that game.
I think we were really, really flat without ASM. You take him out, and then the ball was going to him, and I think his end product was a bit better. He was finding the passes. He was causing it's a different problem for Ben White to have Arsenal's defence, and it's good that he's back as well, because again it gives Eddie Howe a reminder of, again, for the final few games of the season, you can either play Gordon there, you can play Isak there, you can play ASM there. So a 7 out of 10 for him. And speaking of Gordon, in this central midfield role, we've seen it at Bournemouth, didn't we? When he done that,
wasn't a fan.
He had a good pass through to funny enough, I think it was to ASM, but it's just not. He was just 4 out of 10. No impact on the game for me. It's not his normal position. I feel for him. Yes. I don't think we'll see him there again this season because I think it was, as I say, Bournemouth doesn't work.
Doesn't have the physicality. Doesn't have the height. Doesn't have the vision per se. For me,
if it's a number 10, I get it.
Maybe,
but not centre midfield for me.
Not an 8.
No, just not enough the game. Like as I say, we said Willock passed the game by. I think Anthony Gordon. What did he have any impact? And then, so both of them were given 20 minutes, and then we're seeing a double change again, didn't we? We're seeing Matty Targets. Did he have enough impact in the last 10 minutes?
I know.
We're going non-applicable.
Yeah,
but it was good to see him back, though, wasn't it?
Aye.
So non-applicable.
I think again. 2-0 Hammers. 2-0 Hammers. Oh no, wait. Whatever. Anyways, goal disallowed. Whatever. Anyways, what I just want to say to wrap up this nice and neat from my side of things, I want to see some changes. At Leeds on Saturday. A lot of guys were lacking today. I hope that Longstaff is back because I would swap him right in the way.
How long did my camera's going crazy? How long did Miggy get? Did he come out at the same time?
Something like that. No, actually, wait.
Miggy came on by himself. That was a single substitution.
Let me look it up.
Miggy came on by himself. I'm sure he did. So for Jacob Murphy, I'll go to Miggy. I'll score him again, not much impact. I'll score him a 5 because I think he had a little bit longer. That was a single change, wasn't it? But as I say, that might be one to look at next week for the change on that right wing position. Miggy swaps for Murphy for me next week. That I would like to see that because also Miggy will graft backwards as well. I think he is works harder than Murphy backwards, but Miggy at 5 out of 10. We did see Elliot Anderson very late on as well, didn't we? Again, there was no impact.
He got in the box and then tried to dive for a penalty, and it was just like, away, man, just get up. Come on, kid.
Yeah, we'll score him.
Not the time. I understand, if you get a pen and you do it, it didn't work.
We'll score him a non-applicable as well. Right. Well, let us know, everybody, in the comments for Eddie Howe's performance today. We'll just have a look what he's saying in the comments. The refs were a joke at West Ham. Miggy for Murphy agrees, yeah. So Derek's on that as well. apart from losing the almighty Arsenal, Lewis. Oh, you must be having a conversation. Sorry, I must. And Hammers a Boston. Right, let's try give Eddie Howe a score. He did at the start go with Isak. I thought the first 10 minutes were fantastic until Odegaard puts it away. We hit the post a couple of times. Ramsdale was fortunate that great save as well. Fabian Schär had a shot from distance just wide. But equally, Arsenal had the same amount of chances, I felt. But because Nick Pope...
This game literally could have been a 6-6.
If you look at we're rating, Steve, Nick Pope's our man of the match.
By far.
Because you've scored him an 8. I think the next best player is a 7, which is saint-maximin. So that goes to show you how poor Newcastle were today. That Substitutions was second best player. Kieran Trippier also 7, as well. But Eddie Howe then, what did you give him in terms of his in-game management as well, in terms of the decision-making, the substitutions, the change of tactics? Or do you look at it and think, well, wait a minute, we're up against Arsenal. It's the only second team to beat us at home.
I gotta go with like a 5 here. For me, you can't start off the game like we did and not score, and then the second half the same exact thing happens. I know he's not a player on the pitch, but ultimately it's like we could have mixed something up in the start of the second half, because surely he yelled at all the guys and was like, let's go, second half. What we did in the first 10 minutes, let's do that again. You could have switched up some personnel or something. I thought again, it was just a case of maybe we needed Dan Burn at a center back position possibly. And then left back Matty Target, because our center back we scored them poor. We scored them very low. So maybe he's just got to think of something new. I'll go with like a 5.
I'll go
not his best work. Not his best work. That's all.
I'll go 6. And the only reason why I'm going 6 is because I don't think there was loads in it. Yes, Arsenal were the better side, but they weren't like clearly the better side. So I think that the chances were very similar in terms of the amount of chances. We hit the post a couple of times. Yes, Martinelli hit the woodwork as well. But we've also considered we matched Arsenal. Arsenal were playing the dark arts where they were slowing the game down, and effectively until they went 2-0 up, that's when they didn't really care. They knew that the game was won. Yeah. So
and the problem is we didn't care either. Because like I said, we were dead until we brought on ASM. We were a team defeated.
We went a bit flat, didn't we? But I like that substitution, though. I do, because it lifted a little bit. But yeah, you could argue the others could have came on sooner. It doesn't have to stick with 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, however, which way you look at that formation. You could mix it up a little bit. But I'll go 6 out of 10. But you've also got to reflect that it's only second defeat all season.
At home.
Liverpool and Arsenal are the other sides to beat us. So that takes it context that these are two big sides, and we could finish ahead where we should finish ahead of Liverpool as well. Just in case, just on the final thought, Steve, I asked everybody in the last word this, which is coming up later on tonight. Yeah. We've also got Irish guy on there, 40, me as well, and Harry. Are you worried about Liverpool catching us? Or do you think we've got enough?
A little bit. I think we're gonna squeak it by either goal difference or points. I think it could be because we were just talking about Leeds away, and the 12:30 kickoff record is poor. I mean, remember the Aston Villa 12:30? I thought that was gonna be a draw. It's gonna be interesting. We have to take our chances at Ellen Road, and if we give them a goal, we are in a deep world of hell. I'm sweating it a little bit.
I'm not just yet, but it's on the. I'm not so much Brighton, because Brighton literally have to win all their games. That's a big ask. With the games.
Considering Forest beat them 3-1.
Yeah, I think if Liverpool win their last 3 games of the season, I think Newcastle do need a couple of results.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think Leeds. If you picked out of the 2 games, Arsenal Leeds, you'd probably say Leeds is the one you want to win, because Arsenal are way ahead of us. Yeah. But We'll have to wait and see. I think it could go down all the way, but we do have that buffer, that extra game in hand, which could help Newcastle United seal. Because the last thing we want is going to Chelsea, last game of the season, needing a result where our record is awful. If we can have a 3-point buffer, that goal difference is an extra point, which will get us.
Yeah, it's a tiebreaker.
As old Steve would say, it's a tiebreaker, man. Just speaking of that as well, me and Steve will be collaborating together in the US of A, because I'm heading out to the States as well. So we've still got a few ironed a few things out what we're going to do in terms of, I think we're getting a camper van, I think, but we'll work all that out in the next few weeks. But yeah, Steve, thank you very much for popping on last minute.
No problem.
And everybody at home, if you can drop us a like, we've got 2 more videos coming up tonight. We've got a special women's video, as I mentioned, plus we'll have the last word, which will be out at daft o'clock because it takes forever to edit. But from me and Steve, see you later, everyone. Bye-bye.